The Bitter Taste Story. Their annual camping trip was a sacred ritual for the group of 6 friends: Ethan, Liam, Olivia, Chloe, Noah, and Sophia. They had known each other since childhood, sharing a wealth of cherished memories. This year they chose Bone Creek Forest, a remote and beautiful spot, but one also shrouded in a chilling reputation due to the mysterious disappearance stories surrounding it. The friends brushed aside the local warnings, excited to spend a few days embraced by nature, far from the city's clamor. They reached their designated site at sunset and set up their tents beside a winding stream. They lit a cozy fire and began preparing dinner, their conversations and laughter filling the air. Ethan was the most enthusiastic, recounting eerie tales about the forest, while Chloe tried to temper his excitement with her sarcastic remarks. Late that night, after the fire had died down and everyone had retreated to their tents, Liam awoke to a strange aroma, a blend of sweet and bitter that he couldn't quite place. He stepped out of his tent to find a large platter placed on a nearby tree stump. The platter held pieces of grilled meat and colorful vegetables looking unbelievably delicious, as if it had just come from the finest restaurant. Liam woke the rest of his friends. They were all filled with curiosity and wonder. None of them had brought such food. After a few moments of hesitation, they decided to taste it. The flavor was extraordinary, a peculiar mix of spices and herbs they had never experienced before. They felt an overwhelming sense of satisfaction after just a few bites. But as the hours passed, subtle changes began to appear in their behavior. Ethan, who was always cheerful, became quieter and more irritable. Olivia, usually calm and shy, started speaking louder and making rude comments. Noah felt an irresistible urge to wander alone in the forest, while Sophia seemed more withdrawn and suspicious of everyone. The next morning, the atmosphere was tense. Small disagreements quickly escalated, and playful jokes turned into hurtful remarks. They felt a kind of hidden animosity seeping between them, something strange and unfamiliar. Chloe noticed that their appetites had become unnatural. They were eating ravenously whatever they could find, even leftovers from the previous night that they had discarded. She began to feel uneasy about this sudden shift in their personalities. On the second night, they found another platter of the delectable food in the same spot. This time, it contained sweet pastries and exotic fruit. They couldn't resist and devoured it quickly. Afterward, the changes in their behavior became more pronounced. Their gazes grew sharper and their words more cutting. The feeling of friendship gradually faded, replaced by a sense of resentment and aversion. Liam felt a violent urge to possess things. He argued with Noah over a backpack they found lying around, even though it didn't belong to either of them. Olivia started to taunt Chloe and mocked her clothes. Sophia, who had been observing the events silently, realized that something was fundamentally wrong. These weren't just ordinary mood swings. The food they had eaten on the first night was the cause. But what was it? And who had left it for them? By the third day, the situation had completely spiraled out of control. The friends had turned into strangers, looking at each other with suspicion and hostility. Violent quarrels erupted over the smallest things. Ethan felt an uncontrollable urge to harm Liam, while Chloe harbored a simmering rage towards Olivia. Noah disappeared early in the morning and didn't return. None of the others seemed particularly concerned. Their primal instincts had awakened, overriding any feelings of empathy or friendship. Sophia stumbled upon the remains of the platter they had found on the first night. It was made of a strange organic material and seemed to pulse faintly. She cautiously approached it and noticed intricate carvings, looking like ancient symbols, on its surface. Strange visions flashed through her mind at that moment, images of distorted faces and glowing eyes in the dark. She felt a malevolent presence surrounding her, as if the forest itself was breathing with something evil. Sophia realized the horrifying truth. The food wasn't just food. It was something else, something that awakened a dark and primal side within them, a side that had been dormant beneath layers of civilization and upbringing. The forest was feeding on them, using its bitter taste to transform them into monsters. Sophia tried to warn the others, but they had already succumbed to the food's influence. Their gazes were vacant and savage, and they no longer listened to reason. She saw in their eyes reflections of their most bloody fears, their hidden desires twisted into a terrifying reality. In the end, only Sophia remained. She fled deep into the forest, pursued by the sounds of her transformed friends. She knew they wouldn't stop until they found her. She knew that the bitter taste had corrupted them all, turning a trip of friendship into a never-ending bloody nightmare. Bone Creek Forest was no longer just a place of disappearance. It had become an arena for the brutal conflict between who they were and what they had become. And the curse carried by the food was stronger than any human bond.